Once again, this band from Bethesda has disrupted the format of this show.
Well, back in the days, early Beatnik Flies, we got a lot of big breaks from this band called the Slicky Boys. I guess Skip Groff saw us at one of like our first shows at DC Space, and he said, "You guys would be perfect with the Slicky Boys." And we're thinking, "Oh my God, how can we play with the biggest stars in DC?" Well, next thing we know, Kim Kane calls us up. He calls Kenny, and the first thing Kim says, "Is this a beatnik?" So, you know, that started a whole long career, you know, got us really started in the DC club scene. And, you know, back in those days, I would ask Mark, "Hey, Mark, the stage manager guy, he just told me to, I got to do this." And Mark Noon told me, who is like my little brother, our producer, and everything. Anyways, Mark said, "Joey, you just agree to everything he says, then you get up there and you do what the fuck you want." So, Mark has been on this show. And, you know, in competition's sake, I got to take whatever Mark Noon did, take it over to top. And so that's what we do here. Yeah. Peace and love. Peace and love. What song? You got away with me, babe. You got away with me. You really stole me clean, babe. You got away with me. into the nighttime. Well, I turn off the lights for a little mood and a little bit of atmosphere here now. Come on, honey, have no fear, 'cause you know your dad is here. You got to move just a little faster now. Come on, baby, don't be lazy, baby. Maybe you and me can make a way into the nighttime. Yeah, that's right, just you and me. Baby, maybe you and me can make the way into the nighttime. Come on, baby, come with me.
Olay. This goes out to all the dogs of the neighborhood.
Especially the beautiful female human beings that these nasty men call dogs. I mean,
What the
we're not
heck are
like
you
that.
talking about?
We're not like that.
Okay.
I'm crazy. I wrote this song in 1969. It's called Put the Dogs Out, and it's a true story. When I get home late at night, I hear them cry and run down the stairs. Suddenly, out of the night, put the dogs out, put the dogs out, put the dogs out. Put the dog, 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 put the dogs out, put the dogs out, put the dogs out, put the dogs out. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Yeah, I know that they love me and I love them. Yes, I do. But there's just one thing that this poor boy has got to do. Put the dogs out. Put the dogs out. Put the dogs out. Put the dog, 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 dog. Put the dogs out. Put the dogs out. Put the dogs out. Put the dogs out. One more time. One more time. Well, it's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright.
Welcome to this week's episode of Locally Grown. I'm Chip Pye, and here we are in the Yarden with one of my favorite bands. Well, it's actually one of my favorite musicians in DC is Joe Dolan. And when I first started Locally Grown, he was going to be my first artist. This was going to be the first band that was going to play, but we ran into some problems and we had to reschedule. So we rescheduled to season 3. Joe, you have been in many bands in DC with some of these guys and
With all of us.
With all of us, okay? So tell me who we have here in the Yarden.
We have. Make sure that mic gets up close to me.
Okay, yeah, it's
I get
really-
paranoid that it's not going to pick me up.
It's a very sensitive mic.
Oh,
It's
okay.
multi-directional.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, hey.
It's a nice mic.
All right, it's not that kind of shit.
Okay. Well, right here we got Mark Langosh. And Mark and I have been playing music since 1970, and there's a whole story behind that, but I don't know whether we're ready. Do you want me to tell you the story now?
This is the story time telling.
Yeah, well, back in 1970, I was in a local production of Hair. So we wrapped up, we had about 4 or 5 performances set up, and we did them all, at the local theaters, playhouses.
High school.
And so anyway, at the last one, we all packed into a couple of VW minivans and drove out to this lake somewhere in, who knows, out River Road.
Some pond or
Some ponds. So anyway, we all went there and everybody got naked and was running around.
In the spirit of Hair, right?
In the spirit of Hair, jumping in the pond and on the way back, I was sitting next to this guy and I didn't know him, and we started talking, and he was the flute player in the pit orchestra. So we became, we started talking and decided, hey, let's jam. I told him, look, Mark, I write all these songs, and I want you to, let's try, see what it sounds like. And
those 2 songs we heard first, those were songs that you wrote. This is all original music we're hearing today.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
And what did you call your band then?
I think we called it Dogs from a Tree.
Dogs from a Tree. Okay. And what is this band called here that we have in the Yarden today?
Mansutus Jones.
Mansutus Jones. Okay.
And that is from when we first started, me, Kenny, and Mark, and we also had Larry the Sunboy California, the legendary original drummer of the Beatnik Flies. He was playing tin cans, pots and pans, whatever we had available.
Pans and
And then we got this guy, my friend Morgan Davey, most talented songwriter I've ever known in my life. And we became Mansutus Jones.
And this was in and around Bethesda in the 1960 something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Late 60s.
Late
Late
60s.
60s. And Mark came in 70.
In 70. All right.
And Kenny and I, we got Mr. Kenny Bug here on bass.
On bass.
Kenny started playing,
Esquire.
Kenny Bug Esquire. He started playing back in the, I guess about 66, 67. We'd sit up in my room and I used to write these silly songs, and we would call it Joe Dolan comedy music.
Well, we didn't. All of our friends called it that.
All your friends.
Yeah.
It didn't seem serious enough for that.
But then at one point,
So they
you all
were-
became a band that played in D.C. for many years called the Beatnik Flies.
Indeed. We went through the 70s and...
Well, before we were the Beatnik Flies, we were the Flies.
Just the Flies.
Just Joe, Larry, and I. We were a power trio. And we were doing punk before punk, like 73, 74.
All right.
75.
Oh, yeah.
Up to that.
We were doing punk
All right.
before punk.
Punk before punk.
Marijuana City,
All
Voter
right.
number 9.
And that was a song about the dogs that you wrote in 1969.
Exactly.
And here in the Yarden, we had dogs in the song. That's the magic of the Yarden. So Joe, what are you going to play for us today here in the Yarden with, what's the name of this band?
Mansutus Jones.
Mansutus Jones. What is Mansutus Jones going to play for us today here in the Yarden?
We're going to play a song called You Should See Yourself. And it's, I wrote this way back, and it was a song I wanted Bob Dylan to write, but he wouldn't write it, so I wrote it.
Sometimes that has to be done. And we're going to hear that today here in the Yarden.
Peace, love, and prayers. Peace, love, and prayers.
That's what the planet needs.
Hey, wiki, wiki, wacky, wiki, wacky way. I think of you. Back in old Honolulu. Wiki, wiki, wacky, hey, wiki, wiki, wacky. Hey, wiki, wiki, wacky, wiki, wacky way. You were my girl. Could still be today. And my mind goes there as I grow my hair. And I think of you. Oh, wiki, wiki, wacky, wiki, wacky way. You were my love. Could still be today. Wiki, wiki, wacky.
Wiki, whack, whack.
And my mind goes there as I grow my hair, and I think of you. Back on old wiki, wiki, wacky, wiki, wacky way. Please marry me. Back in A-Y-E. Wiki, wiki, wacky, hey, wiki, wiki, wacky, hey, wiki, wiki, wacky, wiki, wacky way.
Love. Love. Hey, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's love. It's all about
Hey,
love.
look who's back there.
And that was some love here in the yard.
Wow.
Everybody tune in each week with this band. This band was called what?
Mansutus Jones.
Mansutus Jones, Joe Dolan, Kenny Bunk, and Mark Langa here in the yard. And everybody tune in each week where we grill, groove here in the yard and on Locally Grown. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.
Great music.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chip.
Chip. Thank you, Chip.
Ship ahoy.
Chipper.
Cut. That's it. That's a wrap.
Go.
All right.
Hold on, let me make sure the camera was on.